Alright, well, turns out killing Harden wasn't the end, so let's move on. But first... Teleport, Godo! Well done, Godo, that was a good teleport. Marth and his companions moved to the Wyverns, if that is its real name. Deja vu. Alright, no intro cutscene outside of that, so how is everyone? George picked up a Might Staff. That one increases strength, it's actually pretty useful. Warren still exists and he got some good experience, but that doesn't matter to me. Horace got some experience. And anybody want to get something good? I mean, experience is good, but not really useful on characters I don't use. Alright, speed and resistance, interesting combination, kinda makes up a little bit for his faults. So I guess all of the off-screen characters are gonna be having a really good battle. Meanwhile, it's all fairly standard for us. Also, it seems we don't have any supports, which makes sense. We are kinda nearing the end of those, and well, we did have most of our ending Katarina conversation. Well, we had one ending one, the other one was the second one. That's how that works. Alright, that seems like as good a plan as any. So, the map. As you might have guessed, we're back in Dragon territory. But, as I was hinting, when we were in Dragon territory, we're back, but we're much more prepared for dragons now. You should have plenty of dragon-killing weapons, and, well, just in general, your stats should be good enough to actually stand up to some. Now, we also have that village, which is apparently so important we have a conversation about it. Oh, but trust me, it's even more important than this cutscene is making it out to be. So, we have a Draco Knight, and they suffered a wound that would kill any ordinary man. Well, and they know Marth. I mean, I guess everyone knows Marth, but, the first and second bits are pretty important. That actually does narrow it down to a few select people. But we're going to have to wait and see about that, because we're starting the chapter. Oh, we're on the precise border? Cool. Okay, who's got a camera? We're gonna... Oh, okay, so Marth, stand over there with one leg in each territory, and we'll get a picture like that. It's gonna be real good. That is such a casual way to refer to this. Hey, this place is really dangerous. So much so that ordinary men don't even bother with this place. It's just barbarians and dragons. Neat. Pfft, worse than Ymir's way. Hardly so. I mean, like, sure there are a lot of Wyverns, but we're not in a desert, so that's advantage number one. Hey, Ymir! I should have known we were missing something. I mean, that was an easy chapter, so it's not like it was that impressive, but Ymir's alright. He's no Gonzalez, sure, but I like him. No, Ymir, don't do... No. Have some self-respect, Ymir. The world is wrong, not you. Well, Ymir's really excited for a fight, so let's talk about him. If there's one thing Ymir here is good at, it's hitting things. His HP, strength, and speed are all pretty good. However, he's notable in that he has a 20 in strength.
Now, for some reason, most pre-promotes by this point in the game don't have a 20 in any of their stats, despite the fact that it would really help them not fall behind the characters you've been training, because they probably have a 20 in at least one stat, if not more. It's the reason most people at this point fall behind. They don't have time to be trained, and they haven't even reached an unpromoted cap either. Now granted, you do probably have someone as strong as Ymir already, but at the very least, Ymir specializes in something and he does it really well. Unfortunately, while his speed's not half bad, that's the stat that's at the point where it's really not good enough to be effective, and it's not going to get good enough to be effective, so in theory Ymir could be fast. He probably won't be, though.
And now that we've talked about him, he's on house duty. Sorry, Ymir, I don't really have time to be using other units. I mean, I should. Unless you're playing Conquest, a normal mode of a Fire Emblem game shouldn't preclude you from just casually using characters that join you. You shouldn't overuse them, sure, but, you know, they can get in a fight or two. Alright, so, Wyvernsdale. Whole lot of wide open space, which is kinda nice, plenty of room to stretch your legs. Of course, you're gonna be hit by an onslaught of Wyverns, but like I said, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. You should have plenty of dragon-killing weapons, you should have archers, and you know, because it's Wyverns, they do have their weaknesses, so bring your archers and bring your wind mages. For example, we did get Excalibur, a second copy of Excalibur rather, and well, now that we've got a fresh use of one, characters who aren't Merit can probably use it by this point. Unless, of course, you're like me and you use Linde and Katarina. They're saying the devil's been revived or something like that. Huh, how strange. Man, what a strange occurrence. I hate living here. God, you can't just go a day without Satan being brought back into our world. God. I mean, I'd move, but it's so expensive, and everything else is war-torn. Anyway, though, yeah, if you use other male mages, then you have access to Excalibur by this point, unless you somehow haven't gotten them to a B rank in tomes, which is kinda hard not to do unless you just use them that infrequently. I mean, I'd say that's hard to do, but to be fair, Julian's really gotten the short end of the stick in this playthrough. He's really not good. Anyway, though, you might notice that I am rushing off to the north to stop those thieves. Again, as the cutscene implied, that's very important. However, there's actually a second rule about that village, and quite frankly, it's kinda bullshit. So, you know how in both of the DS games, Martha's the only character who can ever visit villages? At no point do you ever use a character to go to a village, like, even if you try, won't work. Well, here's the exception. You can go to the village as Marth, but if you do that, you've made a mistake. Unless you do something else first, and on top of that, you also have to do this within 16 turns, otherwise the event won't activate. So you might have noticed I brought Minerva along for the ride, which, in fairness, I've been, wanting to do that throughout the playthrough. There's not nearly enough Minerva, and there's going to be more Minerva overall. However, she's very important here. She's the one who has to visit the village. Now, this is only vaguely implied by the game, but this is probably the most obscure thing in the game, and of course, when I first played New Mystery of the Emblem, I didn't do this thing, because how was I supposed to guess that this is the one time in all of the DS remakes that you have to use another character on the village? It wasn't until I read a few things afterwards that I finally realized, oh, shoot, I missed something. And it figures, because I actually recorded a video of the ending of this game, and I was missing content for it. Of course. Anyway, though, by the way, another thing of note, apparently dragons actually can destroy the village. As per usual, I'm looking at War of Dragons, and under the map it says dragons can destroy the village, and apparently they are reinforcements. Just normal-ass dragons, I guess, because the Wyverns sure didn't do it. I'm not seeing where on the map the reinforcements come from, though, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm not entirely sure how that works out on Lunatic, but whatever. Anyway, not much to talk about with the main team. Flyer team plus Cecil over there is doing a pretty good job. They're taking care of everything, and they should be at the village in time. They'll meet a bit of resistance with the enemies up there, but it's not a huge deal. Meanwhile, here, that guy had a devil axe, and he barely made a dent in Ogma because Ogma has a ridiculous amount of HP. We also got a devil axe, not going to use it. And I think we're pretty much done with Cecil here since she can't cross mountains, but hey, perfect timing to kill that other thief, right? Oh, actually, I should look up the list of items that can be found in caves, because I've never once obtained any of those, so I should at least inform you of what they are if I didn't show them. I did have one other thing I wanted to make mention of, though. Oh, right, secret shop. There is a secret shop in this one, so make absolutely sure you have the silver card accessible, because this one's going to be pricey. I've mentioned before that it is the item secret shop, so stat boosting items aplenty are here. And, you should probably want those. Oh, and it's also a good idea to make sure you have, this one says 30,000 gold to buy everything except the arms scroll. So obviously a bit less if you have the silver card, unless it's taking that into account? I don't know, I forget the math for it, but yeah. I actually had to restart this chapter after almost completing it, because I completely forgot to sell things. And of course, I technically could have sold things through the secret shop, but that would have been really boring for me, and would have definitely broken the flow of the episode. So, yeah, had to do the entire thing over, because I'm a dumb idiot, and I completely forgot to actually make sure I had enough money to buy things from the secret shop. Oh, what fun. Okay, if I can't immediately find the cave... Oh, wait, no, here it is. It's referred to as hidden treasure. Alright, so, you get a bullion in Chapter 1's cave, a physics staff in Chapter 7's cave. Chapter 11 I actually did cover. It includes all the desert map items. You can get an arm scroll in Chapter 18, which, not a big deal. This chapter, however, you can get a talisman, which of course is the resistance boosting item. You want that. You absolutely want the talisman. It's a shame I missed it, because, like, you really can't go wrong with a talisman, considering everybody's low resistance. Alright, so I guess the end of this chapter is a bit tricky. We've got a lot of ranged magic users, but we've also got Wyverns, so if you get unlucky and get hit by a meteor, the Wyverns might pose a threat. Otherwise, not really a big deal. Evasive and resistant characters are the best for this job, so that they can kind of just stand up to everything the game throws at you. Or, you know, yet again, Ogma. Ogma, he's got a lot of HP. Don't know if I've mentioned that, but he's real good because of it. Oh no, not Ymir. Oh no. He's not gonna get attacked again, whatever will I do? To be fair, 18 damage is actually quite a bit. I'm joking about bringing up Ogma's high HP a lot, but it did kind of just save his ass. But now that that's done, most of the Wyverns are dead. I mean, there's that long-range dude, but Sada's got that covered, I think. And while Fortify is always handy, I think Amend should be good enough, because Ymir's not going to be killed here. Oh, you probably also want to keep a character near this fortress, because there are reinforcements here. Don't matter too much, though, and oh, dang. Wow, thanks for that, Sada. Goodbye. Not a bad level up from Minerva either. Strength and defense is always solid. I'd prefer a bit of speed on her, though, just because she's a little low on that. Oh no, Board. Whatever will he do? He only has plenty more HP to go. And oh, look at that. Well, goodbye. I'm surprised Ryan didn't crit on the first attack, but whatever. He doesn't need a crit at all. He just happens to get them, and they're really helpful. Alright, well, let's just finish up this dude. And with that, we're clear to put Minerva on the village space. Wow, he really is wounded. Normally people are just dirty when they're wounded, but he's got scratches as well. Don't encourage him. He always found his own way, like when he murdered your father. I don't know, I'm never really fond of stories that are like, hey, this family member is terrible, but they're family, so you have to love them. No, you don't. You absolutely do not, and probably shouldn't, really. And Michalis is pretty bad, because again, patricide, he committed it. Anyway though, now that that's done, let's get Prince Marth to the village. Because apparently Michalis has got a thing, and he's going to give it to Marth himself. Michalis, you knew Marth was coming. Minerva just told you that. Gee, I don't know, maybe he's in the big fuck-off castle? And we get Starlight. Alright, well, I guess that's it for Michalis then. Again, not really worthy of redemption. He never does anything that shows remorse. He's just slightly less evil now than he was, like, a week ago. Oh well, so, time for shopping. Silver card, VIP card. Time to make a whole lot of money disappear, my favorite thing. I am going to show off the vendors here. I'm not going to buy anything, though. Even though there are some useful weapons, and if there's anything special you want to pick up, you should do so. Stat boosters help a lot, of course, but, I mean, that Hellfire could be pretty important. But of course, as always, you have access to basic weapons, so don't even bother buying any of those. If you need any killer weapons, though, definitely pick some of those up, because those are always helpful and are kinda easy to burn through if you overuse them. Of course, to be fair, I don't think I need a killer bow. Ryan is kind of just a living killer bow as is. Alright, so the boss is generic, so I guess we'll just have Board do a thing. And actually, I start using the Brave Axe here. So the Brave Axe, of course, is really useful. In the hands of a fast character, it can actually get them moving 4 times in a single fight. So it's pretty good. Of course, for Board, I'm really only using it to make up for his low speed, so technically speaking it could be more useful in someone else's hands, but I decided to use Board. I'm sticking with that decision. So it's fine if I just have to use Brave Axe as a sort of crutch rather than just, hey, this thing's super broken, just in general. It's broken as a crutch, though. Alright, so yes, $12.50 for each item. There is, of course, 3 of each stat booster. I'm going to buy everything except the Arm Scroll. Arm Scrolls have their uses, but not for me. I don't really have any character I want using a weapon they might not necessarily normally use. Like I've been mentioning in the character bios, it's kinda just better to specialize in a single weapon in this game. Especially since you only have so much time. It's not like Fates where I'm like, oh, well, this character can equip swords and axes, so better equip them both. Better grind more. Alright, anyway though, that's the end of that. We've reached the Dragon's Altar. It's quite the foreboding castle on the map, and on the inside it's not much better. You know, we keep bringing up the fact that Medius was kind of acting heroically. I feel that should be a plot point we remember more. You'd think it'd be pretty important, but no, Medius is kind of just a black and white kind of villain. He is just evil. So, you don't see Earth Dragons that often in the series because they're very strong. Abnormally so. And we really would not want to fight them, like, normally. Oh, a Shadow Dragon! You mean the name of the last game? In which he was an Earth Dragon? I guess the last game was kind of a spoiler in of itself, because Medius is a Shadow Dragon, and Godot's finally figured something out. Of course, to be fair, this was probably kinda predictable the way the game goes. I mean, we recruit almost all of the Arcanian characters, so of course all of the Arcanian villains come back as well. And I mean, this was back in the day in which you'd pretty much always have the same villains over and over again. Back in the day, people really liked their recurring villains. Though to be fair, you know, they did change villains for, Gaiden. But then they went back to Garneth and Medius for this game. But enough about that. Ymir's here, and at the end of the chapter. And you know, it has been a while since we've gotten a hat. Oh, Ymir. It's been so long since I've worn a hat. There's no chance in hell I wouldn't wear that. This is it, the final and most powerful of the hats. We will bear witness to its form next time on Fire Emblem New Mystery of the Emblem. The plot thickens, and so do the good hats. Oh, right, oh. I mean, I guess the hat cutscene was pretty important, but here's Minerva being sad over Michaelis's dumbass corpse. Sorry, Minerva. Hell was full. That's what Satan said. I mean, it looked kinda empty, but he kinda rushed me out of there pretty quickly. I read that more as an, oh, brother. Yep, that's the same Michaelis. Good old Michaelis, I intend to conquer the worlds, all of them, Macedon. Oh, that's his old self, huh? And he's just as insufferable as he always is. Good to know. Okay, I know I give Michaelis a lot of shit, and rightfully so, because he's terrible, but I'll admit I do get a little bit of joy out of being able to play him. I am 13 about being able to play villains. You can probably guess who my favorite Chrono Trigger character is. Surprise answer, it's all of them. Anyway, the nice thing about Michaelis is, despite the fact that you get almost no time to use him and he is a pre-promote, he actually has stats that are worthy of the endgame. Like, most of the ones that counter around the 20s, and heck, even 5 resistance is really good. His growth rates are also pretty good. He doesn't particularly specialize in anything, but he is a pretty good all-arounder. He also starts at level 12, so he only gets 8 levels to grow, but you're probably not going to get 8 levels with him unless you only use him for these last few chapters. That being said, his most notable weakness is, of course, his thoroughly garbage luck. 2 is god-awful, and it's not going to get any better. Even if he were to somehow get a point every level up, which considering his low growth rate that's unlikely, it would still be garbage by the time he maxed out. But that being said, I really can't be surprised at his horrible luck. I mean, considering he's Michaelis, and also he got wrecked by his sister, and also he got mega wrecked by Garnuf, yeah, luck doesn't seem to really come his way, does it?